Hello and welcome again to this edition of FI-TV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson, and we are coming to you from the very first day of the 2022 Florida legislative session. We're just beginning committee weeks, and today we're joined by Andrew Learned, and you are representing District 59.
59,
All
the
right.
good people of Brandon and Riverview.
I love it. I kind of cut my teeth in politics down in that area 25 years ago. So welcome to FI-TV.
You know they're recording this, right?
I do know that. I love it, and it's called the Alify, not the Alafaya River. You learn that at people's front doorsteps. So you probably already knew that. All right, so you're a freshman. Talk to us a little bit about your background before we kind of get into the meat of it. What'd you do before becoming a legislator?
Sure. So I'm a Navy vet, 12 years now.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I was 5 years active duty. I've been a reservist pretty much ever since. And I own a small tutoring center. It's my day job. And in 2016, I got the call with the Navy Reserve that I was heading back over. I ended up being one of the lead planners for the war in Yemen for a period of time, and ran for office after the former president got one of my guys killed on a raid in Yemen that never should have happened. And went back to the barracks and started Googling how to run for office. And one thing led to another, here I am.
It's amazing. Today's article is all about the Sufi rebellion that's happening over there. Just read that this morning. So you were in the middle of all of that, huh?
Yeah, it's
well, thank you for your service,
place.
and thank you for being America's representative over there and fighting to keep your coworkers or your fellow military people safe, as safe as can be in that environment. So, all right, well, you're here today. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. How did you get involved? Oh, so you just said that it was the previous president that drove you to run. And when you think of your first legislative session, what was the thing you took away as your most proud moment, if you will, in last year's session?
Easy question for me. So I passed a bill. First of all, being a freshman in the minority party, I had fairly low expectations of being able to move things through the process. And I passed a bill that pertained to military-friendly schools. So I'm a dad of twin 9-year-olds. They just started 4th grade.
Excellent.
Military guy, obviously. And this was a bill to help transitioning military families get their kids into the best school possible for them.
Okay.
It was a great bill. And I had a Republican prime co-sponsor, House and Senate. And on the day we passed it off the House floor, I had an equal number of, I had 14 Democratic co-sponsors and 14 Republican co-sponsors, which made it the most bipartisan bill that the legislator passed last year. I was all about that bill.
Well, I think what that does is, would you say that tells you that party politics don't come into play when it comes to doing great things for the folks that are in our military?
Yeah, absolutely. We take an oath to the Constitution, not to a party, right? And I think we all can come together when we find something where we agree on. And if you turn off Fox News for 5 minutes, you realize that 90% of the things we will always agree on, regardless of our partisanship. And if you use that as your starting place, you can do great things here.
It's so true, and as we know, right, where everyone gets fouled up is on that last 10%, and that's what, sadly, it seems like everybody spends most of their time on. We could solve so much. So, well, that's a great attitude to bring to the legislative process. I love it. And so you're a freshman in the minority, yet you pass a bill with bipartisan support. I mean, are you the envy of the rest of not only your freshman class, but of
I passed 4 bills.
The rest of the minority party members?
I passed 4 bills last year, so they got 4 more reasons to be mad at me.
So it's clearly a Representative Learned brag session right here. Okay, I love it. All right. Well, all right. So last session was a banger of success. When you got out of session, you kind of caught your breath. What did you do this summer before you came back? How obviously you got 2 kids, you're running a business.
Yeah.
Anything in that world or other
I
worlds?
did go say hi to them, which was nice to spend some family time. I'm a huge cyclist, so I think I stacked up a couple thousand miles this summer.
Just a couple.
Just
a couple.
I'm on track for a 7,000 mile year, so we're going.
Well, I'm sensing we're gonna see you competing on some of the many channels that cover Florida cycling.
Brad, I will be honest with you. I only came here under the impression that we were going to do an interview about my cycling career.
Let's
getting it back on track.
Actually, you know what? This is about the people behind the offices that you guys inhabit, so it's okay. What kind of races do you like to ride?
Crits, circuit races, long distance, cross Florida.
So for folks that don't ride road bikes, what is a criterion?
Short, laps,
Right.
and it's usually timed.
Right.
So it'd be like an hour race, and you can go as slow or as fast as you want.
Right.
When you get to like 5 laps to go, they call the race, and then it's full gas.
And then you just mentioned you just recently did a race across the state of Florida.
186
How
miles.
much traffic did you stop by doing that with all of your friends in that race?
If you were on I-4 that day, I'm sorry.
All right. Well,
I was going as fast as I could
we
go.
can get in the challenges of I-4 on another day, and everyone's blood will boil on all sides of the equation. All right. So outside of that, and we get back into the policy world, what are you bringing into the upcoming legislative session?
So a couple different bills I'm working on right now. One is a relook at the marijuana statutes for our state. One of the things that I found most infuriating last year through the process is there was basically 2 ideas. There was THC caps and moving us in what I would consider a backwards direction on marijuana policy in the state, and full adult use recreation, which was a non-starter with the majority party. Nobody was doing any of the middle ground sensible things to just make the program work better for doctors and patients and everybody who uses it. So I sat down with Rep. Roach from one side of that spectrum and Rep. Smith from the other side of that spectrum, and I tried to figure out, like, all right, what are the areas where we agree on, and can we do something along those lines? And I think that is the general formula of what I've done on all of my bills, which is look at what died,
Right.
Why did it die, and where is that common ground, and how can we build off that?
It's amazing to see that Florida has gone from, the old philosophy of, the marijuana, plague to now it's legalized in its medical form in the state of Florida, and now you have, people aren't getting laughed out of the room when they're talking about recreational potential legislation, but it's an interesting piece. It's kind of like, it's vice legislation, right? It isn't, but it's considered that. So, all right, well, we're going to come back. We're going to have you back because we are at our closing time. But one thing we always love asking all of our guests is, when you aren't doing all the work that it takes to work on behalf of your constituents, and you aren't out cycling and raising your 2 kids and running the Learning Center, what do you like to stream? What do you like to watch?
Ted Lasso, hands down. It's the great way to end your day on an upbeat note.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
Right. Fanatic.
Absolutely.
Well, we did see the one guy who won the Emmy last night. Apparently, he's famous for his choice of language. And
apparently, it sounds like you have some streaming to do.
I think I do. I got to catch up with you. I'll get back with you soon on that
Deal.
one. Thanks for coming on Phi TV.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for this interview. For more interviews like this one, make sure you hit us up on our social media feed. Thanks for tuning in.